I'll defer to you. What do you want to start with tonight?
Okay, maybe we start with Anthony Duclair because that was really the biggest one. The biggest, I'm not going to call it a pain point, but drama point. Let's call it that.
Yeah, well, to refresh everyone's memory, he left at the end of last year. Towards the end of the season, there was the whole, this summer, will Patrick Waugh talk to him? Will he apologize? Is Anthony Duclair going to be back? Is he going to be traded? Like, what's the deal? And we found out, it was confirmed from both Patrick Waugh and Anthony Duclair, that Patrick Waugh drove to Montreal to apologize to Anthony Duclair. They did it in person, but Anthony Duclair said that all he needed was for his coach to know that he was playing hurt last year. And the quote is, when he got hurt after the 5th game of the season, he ripped his groin clean off the bone and then never felt right the rest of the season, which sounds like something we were talking about a lot last year, right? Because he started the year pretty good, right? It was 3 points in 5 games, if memory serves correct. And then he gets hurt and just does not look the same at all. And I remember going, I don't know if he's fully back, Mitch. And wouldn't you know it, he tore the freaking groin right off the bone.
That's just disgusting. It sounds disgusting. To refresh our memories in terms of what Patty said, he was god awful. He had a bad game. That's why I didn't play him a lot. And he's lucky to be in the lineup. Sorry if I lose it on him right now, but that's how I feel. That's what Patrick Waugh said of Anthony Duclair last season and what caused him to leave the team for a couple of weeks. I get that he drove all the way to Montreal, but let's be honest. Patty's, I believe, in Quebec City, which is not very far from Montreal. It's a couple hours down the road. But he made the effort to go there in person, not just pick up a phone and call him, which of course helps. But you're right. Like, you did say that. It doesn't look like he's 100%. And sure enough, he's not, which really begs the question, what the hell was he doing out there to begin with?
Yeah, I don't like, that's one of those where I feel like the medical team's got to be like, I understand you're trying to give it a go, but this is not working. Now, I don't know if it was like he just wasn't telling anybody that he was still in pain after the fact, right? Like, he had to be out there and help his team, but he didn't do that because, unfortunately, with the injury and trying to play through it, he was not anywhere close to the player that the Islanders needed.
So it may have been like, you can come back. You're healthy enough to skate. You're healthy enough to play without any worry of re-aggravating the injury. But maybe managed minutes, maybe sheltered minutes, play on the 3rd line and play, or 4th line even, and play like 10 to 12 minutes a night. None of this 15 to 16 minutes a night or even more. Reduce the number of shifts played as you rehab and continue. And because Duclair said that there's a miscommunication in terms of him coming back with injuries. I imagine that was the miscommunication, and just why the expectations weren't being met by Anthony going, well, we thought that you were 100% and you're clearly not. So like, if you were 100%, you should be doing a whole lot hell better than this.
Right. In his final 36 games of the year, he had 5 points, 4 goals and an assist. That's a pace of 11 points in an 82 game season, which, is nowhere close to what you would expect from a player like Anthony Duclair.
No, that's not. And again, like you mentioned, what is it? 3 points in 5 games to begin the season. Of course, super small sample size. That is maybe not necessarily sustainable. But with 3 points over 5 games is what, a 0.6 point per games. Yeah, exactly. Times 82, like 50-point pace.
Yeah, makes
it's
sense.
Not exactly what we expect. It's exactly what we would like to see out of him, though.
Yeah, I'm more than okay with that kind of production, especially with what they're paying him and where he potentially slots in this lineup. That'd be more than enough production.
Yeah, so he leaves October 19th is when he plays 15 minutes. The last game he played, comes back December 21st. So it's not like he came back in March or something. There was time for him to take a little bit more time if needed. Apparently not. Obviously cleared by doctors here. But played 15 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time on average in those games. Before that, of course, small sample size is going to be skewed by like this 19 minutes and 45 seconds in game 1. But they played overtime. Averaging 16 minutes and 30 seconds. So he was playing about what you would expect him to play when he came back from injury. And perhaps that was the miscommunication that needed to be cleared up, as he shouldn't be playing as much as he was originally.
No. And whatever the case is, right? Like, I'm just glad it seems like now that they're on the same page or there's an understanding. And like, that's a really brutal injury. And I understand from his perspective a little bit more now why he was so upset and bothered with Patrick Waugh's comments, because he's like, dude, my groin is off the bone right now, and you tell me that I suck. Like that's obviously got to be tough, but probably one of those cases where both the Islanders and Anthony Duclair probably could have had a better line of communication on what was going on.
Yeah, because like again, he comes back end of December, and those comments don't happen until April 1st.
Yeah.
Right. So they were talking about like 4 months of him just struggling out there. Shut it down. And that was a comment that has been made not only by us. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, we told them to shut it down and we were the only ones, but I saw a number of fans, including patrons, to be like, I don't know why I said including patrons, but fans and patrons say, like, why don't they just shut him down? He's clearly not 100%. And that would have been the smart thing to do, obviously. I don't understand. That is something they need to figure out going into next year. Injury communication needs to be a whole heck of a lot better.
Yeah, and hopefully a learning experience for both Duclair and the Islanders here. But yeah, I think that was definitely a good place to start this show with, just again what we saw from Anthony Duclair and the comments.
I have an inquisitive look on my face because
Yeah,
I'm remembering that obviously our general manager at the time was Lou Lamoriello. And if there's one thing that we know about Lou Lamoriello is that if you have time, you take it. Now, that kind of bullshit he threw around all the time. And rightfully so. I don't want to say like that saying is dumb, but players always took a lot longer to come back from injuries under Lou Lamoriello. Why was that not the case with Anthony Duclair? I don't understand how this one kind of slipped under Lou's radar.
Yeah, to me, I keep going. I've said it maybe 2 or 3 times already, but it just feels like a lack of communication. That's the only explanation that I could come up with, because you're right. He's Mr. If you have time, take it, not rushing guys back or bringing guys up too early, sort of a thing. And it was very evident that Duclair was not right last year.
Yeah, just strange stuff. Hopefully we don't have to go through that this year at all. Mainly just not have to go through injuries, but this is an injury sport. It's going to happen.
And I'm sure we can get into more of this when we do like our full season preview and predictions episode, and even maybe later when we talk about the lineups or the lines for right now. But while we're on Anthony Duclair, I was curious, what are your expectations for Anthony Duclair this year?
I guess like middle 6, maybe third liner, putting up 35, 40 points. Okay. Right, somewhere around where we're paying him, right? Like a million, or is it 10 points for every $1 million type thing?
Yeah, I think that's roughly where I am. I know he had the big year in 2022 where he had 58 points and 31 goals. And even in 23-24, he scored 24 goals. I think I'm going in with lower expectations than that. Yeah. If like he hits 20 goals, great. But I'm in like the mid 30s in points and somewhere between 16 to 20 goals in that range.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like, maybe he plays well. He comes out of the cannon, or comes out of camp on a cannon, out of a cannon. My God, I can't speak. And he bumps up the lineup and he gets more out of it. But as of now, I think it's wise to manage expectations, specifically considering some of the players we went out and got who we expect a little bit more out of.
Yeah. And there's not as much pressure, I feel like, on Duclair to have that career-like season, because, they brought in Shabanov and Druin, and there's some other guys, and that, like, they brought Palmieri back, and Holmstrom got better, and on and on and on it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, can you be a depth player and maybe punch above your weight type of thing? Let's see if you can do that.